Hello, everybody, and welcome to World History B. My name is Mrs. Seacamp. You can see it written right here. My name is Mrs. Seacamp, and I am going to be your teacher for this quarter for World History B. Now, many of you have probably had my World History A class already, and the World History B class just picks up pretty much exactly where we leave off on World History A. So we are going to start. Unit 1 talks about imperialism, so talking about colonization, 7 Years' War, different revolutions. We get to talk about Napoleon, get to talk about the scramble for Africa and what's going on in Asia, and just lots and lots of things that are happening during this age of imperialism, which is kind of between the 1700s to about the 1850s, 1900s or so. So that's Unit 1. Lots of stuff going on in there. Unit 2, we talk about nationalism. So this is actually the lead up to kind of the world wars, talking about why the world wars actually happened, German unification, Italian unification, and then talking about the Great War, which is World War I, the First World War. Different names for the same conflict. So we learn a little bit about World War I, talk about the Eastern Front, talk about what's happening in Armenia at this time, because there's unfortunately a lot of chaos and awful things happening in different parts of the world, and then of course the Great War ending. But the Great War, World War I, as many of you probably know, pretty much leads directly and causes the Second World War. So you'll see what's happening in the world between the world wars, and then you'll look at actually World War II as well. World War II tends to be a lot more focused on in a lot of things because it was a huge war, but World War I really caused World War II. So it's important to understand all of that context. So we talk about World War II, talk about what's happening in Europe, we talk about the Holocaust, we talk about what's happening in the Pacific, and then of course the end of the war as well. Which leads directly into the Cold War. The Cold War kind of starts right after World War II. Russia or the Soviet Union and the United States had been allies in World War II, but they had very different economic and social systems, and so they became enemies pretty much immediately after the Second World War. Um, so we talk about how that Cold War is quote unquote fought, right? It's called the Cold War because there's no actual war between the United States and the Soviet Union, but there is a ton of other stuff going on where they are kind of pitting themselves against each other. Cold War competitions, we've got Korean War, we've got the Vietnam War, and then eventually, spoiler alert, we get the collapse of the Soviet Union. So the United States, quote unquote, winning the Cold War. And then we want to talk about the world today. So you're going to get a little bit of an introduction on where we are at today, kind of going from the early 2000s, so when a lot of you were probably born in the early 2000s, to the mid 2000s, all the way up to global issues and technological issues today. So all types of things going on, and history affects today. So we want to know, how this history is still affecting us today. And then Unit 6, of course, is just a review unit. So lots to go over in World History B. I'm really excited for World History B because it's very kind of focused. In World History A, we went over basically like 30,000 years of human history, but World History B, we're only going over about 200-ish years of human history. So it's a lot more focused, a lot more detail, a lot of stuff going on that really affects how we live our lives today. So I hope you are excited for World History B. My contact information, of course, is right here. If you ever need anything from me, always feel free to reach out. But otherwise, have fun, get at it. Let me know if you have questions. Thanks, guys.